The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence has transformed various aspects of our lives, bringing about unprecedented convenience and efficiency. However, new cybersecurity threats have emerged with the increasing adoption of AI technologies. As AI becomes more sophisticated, so do the techniques employed by cybercriminals. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. The conversation around cybersecurity in the age of AI has moved beyond theory. It's now part of everyday business decisions. From banking apps to healthcare systems, AI is quietly powering processes behind the scenes. But with that convenience comes a new level of complexity and risk that many didn't anticipate a few years ago. Let's welcome Shrikrishna Dikshit, partner, digital and cybersecurity, Baker Tilly ASA India, to discuss how can businesses scale responsibly while safeguarding financial integrity and operational resilience. Hi Shri Krishna, how are you doing? A very warm welcome to our podcast.
Hi Priya, I'm doing good, fine, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you on a podcast today, Shri Krishna. And I think in the last couple of conversations that I've been having at our podcast have somehow been a lot of conversations around, cybersecurity, how new cyber threats have emerged, and what are certain things organizations need to do. And today, I think we are going to gain more perspective from you, Shri Krishna, into this conversation, and we are really looking forward to it. So let's get started, Shri Krishna, and let's set our foundation by telling our listeners more about the organization, its specialization, and alongside that, we would also like to know more about you, Shri Krishna. How has your journey been till date, and what is your role at the organization today?
I am with Baker Tilly ASA India LLP, which is part of the global Baker Tilly network, one of the world's leading professional service organizations. The firm works closely with business across audit, tax, advisory, risk, and governance, helping them to navigate complexity while making confident and strategic decisions. So within the firm, I lead digital and cybersecurity practice, where my focus is on helping clients understand cyber risks, not just as technology issues, but also as business and trust issues, especially as the age of AI. And in the age of AI, we work with an intersection of cybersecurity, digital transformations, governance, and resilience, supporting clients on everything from cyber strategy and risk assessments to incident readiness, regulations alignment, and AI era trust challenges. So, the core of my role is translating complex cyber threats into clear business implications so clients and their leadership can take informed decisions, whether it's about growth, transformation, or resilience.
So thank you for that overview, Shri, and it really sets the context for everything we are, about to explore in this conversation. And I'm also glad to understand about your role, which is, working towards and anticipating where the industry is headed. And I think your role plays a pivotal part in translating vision of the organization into some real world impact. With that foundation set in place, Shri, now let's move ahead. Now, organizations all over the world today rely heavily on digital infrastructure, and even a minor vulnerability can have serious consequences. In the context of cybersecurity, in the age of AI, risks are no longer just external. AI systems themselves can be manipulated, leading to unexpected outcomes. Companies must now think about securing not just their data, but also the intelligence behind their systems. So, how do you think this rise of AI has fundamentally changed the cybersecurity landscape compared to, like, if you consider 5 years ago?
So, if you look at cybersecurity today versus 5 years ago, there is a structural shift. AI has removed the skill barrier from attackers. Phishing today is now highly personalized. Voice as well as identity can be convincingly spoofed, and attacks operate at machine speed. That was not the case earlier. At the same time, defenders are using AI to detect behavioral anomalies and respond in real time. The result is that cybersecurity is no longer people versus system. It's autonomous system on both sides with human setting strategy and governance. Right. So let me start, or let me give you a short story or a quick story. This is a real life incident which has happened. I will not be taking any client names here. So there is a recent case from Bangalore that really shows how AI has changed the cyber security in India. A finance manager receives a video call, right, from someone who looked and sounded exactly like his CFO, asking for an urgent vendor payment. So what happened was everything checked out: face, voice, business context, everything was as is, everything was perfect. Payment was approved in minutes. Later, it turned out that CFO never made that call. Was a deep fake AI generated video and voice of the CFO. Now, here, what's scary is that no systems were hacked. Employees were not even careless. AI simply made the fraud indistinguishable from real internet request. 5 years ago, that kind of attack, only happened in spy movies. Today, it's a real cyber security threat. That's how fundamentally AI has changed the landscape. Attacks today don't break systems anymore; they break trust. Right. So the lesson learned here is simple. In AI era, seeing and hearing someone is no longer the same as verifying them.
Thank you, Shri, for giving that response with the help of a case study. And I think, what's striking here is just how quickly the rules of the game have changed. Like you mentioned that 5 years ago, cybersecurity was largely about building stronger perimeters and
Yes.
reacting to threats. But today, what we are dealing with is something more intelligent and adaptive adversaries that can, learn and evolve on its own. And I think this really highlights a shift from reactive security to more of a predictive and proactive defense. Because let's be honest that today we can't afford to wait and afford for an attack to happen. It's important that we anticipate it, simulate it, have necessary controls in place for its prevention before it even materializes. Now, of course, our conversation that we're having, it brings me to our next question. We discussed that cyber attacks are increasingly leveraging AI and, even machine learning and other technologies to execute more advanced and sophisticated threats. So, with this, they are amplifying the scale and impact of their attacks. As a result, the perception among many organizations is that they see the scales tipping in favor of the attackers. In fact, a recent survey noted a very sobering statistic, which is 76% of organizations believe adversaries benefit the most from generative AI, while only 24% think defenders have the upper hand. So, how does the scale and speed of AI driven attacks change the way organizations need to prepare and respond?
The biggest impact on AI driven cyber attacks is not sophistication, it's scale and speed. So, traditional attackers were limited by human efforts. They took time to research, execute, and adapt. AI removed these limits. Attackers can now generate thousands of highly personalized attacks simultaneously and adjust them in real time based on how it works. Hence, AI driven cyber attacks, they are more dangerous than conventional ones. For one fundamental reason, they remove human limits from the attack. So traditional cyber attacks, they relied on volume, technical skills, and time. AI, it collapses all three. So Again, in US, one of the clearest signals on how dangerous AI-driven cyber threats have become comes directly from FBI. Over the past years, US companies have reported a surge in cases where finance and operational staff, they are receiving phone calls from what sounded exactly like their CEOs, CFOs, like same voice and mannerisms, same urgency. These are typically the wishing attacks, which we usually call it in our day-to-day scenarios. And in several cases, employees have approved payments for shared sensitive information, believing that they were speaking to a real time executive. And this is all what has been confirmed by FBI. So the fraud worked because AI didn't attack technology, it exploited trust at scale.
That definitely makes different, Shri, and this kind of this for organize forces organizations to rethink not just about the defenses, but I think their entire mindset. It's important that businesses have a strong resilient strategy, and they should be able to continuously evolve, to the trends that we are witnessing today. And I think it's not just a tech problem anymore. A lot of things need to be integrated for organizations to quickly make decisions and enhance the collaboration across functions and ensure that they are resilient enough and operate in a state of constant uncertainty. Great, Shri. So moving ahead, now, of course, we have discussed about AI, and AI has enormous value, but capturing the full benefits of AI means facing and handling its potential pitfalls. The same sophisticated systems used to discover novel drugs or screen diseases, tackle climate change, conserve wildlife, and protect biodiversity can also contribute to certain risks. These risks can range from biased algorithms that cause harm to even technologies and that threaten security, privacy, and even human existence. So, when organizations are trying to deploy these AI systems, what are the biggest security risks associated with them, and how can businesses safeguard their infrastructure?
So the biggest security risk in deploying AI system, it stems from a simple reality, and that is AI introduces entirely new attack surface that traditional security controls that were never designed to protect. First, AI systems can be manipulated through prompt injections, data poisoning, or indirect inputs to behave in unintended and often harmful ways. Also, AI centralizes trust. When a model is connected to data, workflows, or payment systems, a single failure it can amplify risk at machine scale. And third is AI blurs the boundary between trusted and untrusted intersection, making it difficult for systems to distinguish legitimate commands from malicious ones. So, to safeguard AI infrastructure, business must shift from static security models to continuous governance models. That means isolating AI decision making, enforcing strict identity and access controls for AI agents, monitoring behavior at runtime, and treating AI outputs, right, as probastic and not authoritative. So monitoring behavior at runtime and treating AI outputs, these are something which is, in short, securing AI is not just about hardening the models alone. It's about designing granularities around how AI thinks, AI acts, and AI connects to the rest of the organization. See, typically what happened was in early 2024, this was somewhere in Jan or Feb 2024, a global engineering firm. It suffered from one of the serious AI-enabled corporate funds today. Name of the firm was Arup. Again, I've taken this case study from Google, so I'm naming it. A finance employee in its Hong Kong office, he received a request from what appeared to be company's UK-based CFO. to carry out a series of urgent financial transfers. Now, to verify the legitimacy, the employee joined a live video conference call, and on call, CFO appeared. He was virtually present. Other senior executives were also virtually present. Voice, face, and mannerisms, they were all realistic. The request aligned was legitimate, and it seemed like an ongoing business activity. Now, believing the instructions were authentic, employee approved 15 transactions totaling to approximately $25 million. Only later, when the investigation happened, it was confirmed that early executive on call was an AI generated deepfake agent. Voices were cloned from public recordings. No systems were hacked. No credentials were stolen. So their CIO described the incident as technology enhanced social engineering attack, emphasizing that the breach exploited human trust and not technical vulnerability. So AI, it doesn't just automate decisions, it amplifies trust. And unless organization secure that trust explicitly, AI will scale risk faster than they can react.
Yeah, I think that really puts things into perspective once again. And what's particularly interesting is this, how security in AI is no longer just an IT concern. It's kind of becoming like a cross-functional responsibility because it touches data governance, compliance, infrastructure, and even organizational culture. Of course, and right now today, businesses can't afford to treat AI security as an afterthought. It really needs to be embedded right from the design state. So the real takeaways here that enterprises accelerate AI adoption, building trust in these systems becomes just as important as building the system themselves. And I think security is going to be the foundation of that trust. Let's take a step further, Shri, and explore the cybersecurity from a macro level. Cyber incidents now rank as the top business risk for 2026, surpassing even AI-related concerns by 10%. Yet, according to the World Economic Forum Global Security Outlook 2026, only 19% of organizations exceed minimum cyber resilience requirement. The gap between organizations that can withstand a cyber attack and those that cannot is widening fast. So, organizations that treat resilience as an organizational capability, which is spanning across people, processes, and technology, rather than a product purchase, are the ones that recover fastest when breaches occur. So, what does true cyber resilience look like in the age of AI, and how can organizations build it into their DNA?
Thanks. A good question, I'll say. So, the true cyber resilience in the age of AI is not about preventing every incident. It's about ensuring that organizations can continue to operate, decide, and recover even when trust is compromised. AI fundamentally it changes resilience because failures now happen at machine speed and often they look perfectly legitimate. Systems may work as designed, employees may follow processes, and yet outcomes still can be catastrophic. This means that resilience can't live in policies or tools alone anymore. It has to be built into organizations' DNA, into decision making, into leadership behavior, and also in operating model. Particularly, cyber resilient organizations, they assume compromise. They validate continuously rather than periodically, and they prioritize recovery just as much as protection. They actually rehearse the disruption at leadership level, the decentralized trust, and design granularities, so no single action, human or machine, can cause disappropriate damages. In AI era, resilience in the organization's ability to keep functioning when certainly breaks, not just when system fails, is typically important. So, in if you consider or if you look at my earlier case, which I spoke about, which was the $25 million fraud, the engineering company. So the four resilience truth for modern organizations are: the resilience assumes compromise, right? So AI makes deception inevitable. That is going to happen, right? Resilient organizations don't ask if trust will be abused, but they ask how safely they can fail when it is. The process compliance is no longer enough. Though employees, they can do everything right and still trigger harm, resilience today must account for human behavior under believable deception. So recovery and confidence matters as much as prevention. And also leadership behavior should change resilience or should shape resilience, like approval thresholds, urgency culture, and speed expectations. It should be directly affect how exposed the organization is. So today in age of AI, resilience is not just about stopping every attack, because it's about ensuring that organizations can still function when trust itself is under pressure.
That's a really insightful take, Shri, and this highlights the understanding of how organizations can move from being just secure to being truly resilient. And I think what you mentioned, resilience or building a cyber resilient organization isn't just the responsibility of the security teams anymore. It spans across the entire organizations and can influences even how employees think about risk on a daily basis. So, and when resilience becomes instinctive rather than reactive, that's when organizations can truly stay ahead. So, Shri, in your response, you also, spoke about how leadership behavior should also change in terms of, making the entire organization cyber resilient. And like I mentioned, it's cybersecurity and is cyber incidents have is one of the top global risks for 2026. So how should, CEOs and leadership teams, you mentioned about what is cyber resilience, but how can CEOs and leadership teams can integrate, a cyber resilient, a strong cyber resilient strategy or into their broader business strategy?
So in today's era, or I'll say in AI era, right, cybersecurity can no longer sit on the sidelines as an IT issue. It is not just an IT issue anymore. It has to be integrated into core business strategies, because AI, it changes the risk profile of organizations when implemented, because it accelerates decision making, concreteness, trust in digital systems, and scales both productivity as well as failures. That means a cyber incident is no longer just an outage or data leak. It can directly impact revenue, reputation, regulatory standings, and strategic momentum of any business. So, for CEOs, this requires three shifts. First is treating cybersecurity as a business resilience function, not just a technology control. Second is embedding cybersecurity into strategic decisions around AI adoption, mergers and acquisitions, digital payments, and automations. Third is ensuring leadership ownership, where cyber risk is discussed in the same breath as financial, operational, and reputational risk. So, in short, cybersecurity in AI era isn't about preventing every attack. It's about protecting the organization's ability to operate, decide, and grow with confidence. So again, I'll take the same Arup case, the engineering company's case, where cyber risk became a business risk. So what's striking about the Arup case is that nothing broke. Systems worked perfectly fine. Employees, they followed protocols, but AI made impersonation believable enough to bypass human judgments. That is why cybersecurity is now a leadership. The failure wasn't technology, it was strategic failure. Trust itself became an attack surface. So, what CEOs and leadership team should do is they should anchor cyber risk to business objectives, govern AI as critical infrastructure. They need to redesign trust, not just their controls. and they need to make cyber resilience as a leadership KPI. In today's era, in AI era, cyber security is no longer about protecting systems. It's about protecting organizations' right to make decisions it can trust.
A very powerful perspective, Shri, and I think the alignment between cybersecurity and business objectives, I think that's where many organizations still struggle because that gap requires not just investment in tools, but like the entire cultural shift of how you explained, where security becomes part of decision making at every level, whether it's product design or customer experience. And I think what I also find compelling is the idea that cybersecurity can actually become a competitive advantage. So this isn't just a CIO or CISO conversation anymore. It's a boardroom priority that shapes how businesses operate and scale in an increasingly complex digital landscape. So, having said that, Shri, one last question for you. After discussing everything about cybersecurity in the age of AI, what is something that we need to do in terms of developing a cyber resilient organization? What will define the next generation of cybersecurity in an AI driven world?
Uh, the next generation of cyber security in an AI driven world will be defined less by tools and more by mindsets. This is my personal belief, my personal thoughts. This is because we are moving from the world of perimeter defense and incident response to one of the continuous trust management process. AI changes the game by automating both attacks as well as decisions, which means security can no longer be reactive, manual, or solid. The future of cyber security will be predictive rather than reactive, identity centric rather than network centric, and embedded directly into business workflows rather than bolted on after the fact. Human judgments alone won't scale. So, organizations will rely on AI to monitor behavior, verify intent, and intervals in real time. I guess it will be AI versus AI. In essence, cybersecurity is becoming a discipline of safeguarding decision making in itself. The organizations that succeed won't be the ones that stop every attack. They will be the ones that can operate confidently even when AI driven deception is unavoidable. So, what next generation cybersecurity will be is assumed compromise, not just perfect prevention, continuous verification instead of static trust, behavioral monitoring overruled or rule based controls, automated response at machine speed, leadership ownership, not just IT accountability. So, the future of cybersecurity isn't about building taller walls or building controls. It's about building organizations that can still make the right decisions when AI make deceptions look real.
Right, Shri. And I think as cyber threats continue to evolve, the integration of cybersecurity into business strategy will become increasingly critical.
Yes.
And cyber resilience presents a fundamental shift in how organizations think about security, from hoping to prevent every attack to building the organizational strength to even surviving and adapting when attacks succeed. By making cybersecurity a core component of business planning, companies can protect their assets, build trust with stakeholders, and drive long term success. Well, thank you so much, Sri, for taking out the time and effort to be on a podcast today and helping us understand that, it's all about taking a proactive approach to cybersecurity, embedding it into your culture to position yourself better in order to manage risks and capitalize on opportunities in the digital economy. Thank you for our insights, Shri. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, this is for listeners. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion around cybersecurity in the age of AI and how AI is set to become the norm for attacks in the years to come. So businesses must deploy their own AI protection and make adapting to this new environment a top priority. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes, and you can view all our previous episodes on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.